In today's video, I'm going to talk about playing slide in standard tuning. I'm going to go through 5 things I think you should know before playing slide in this tuning. And after that, I'm going to play a little piece of music where I use most of those things, or all of them perhaps, in a little blues piece. And if you want to learn that piece, you can get the tabs from my site, as usual. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the notes on the fretboard. When you play slide in an open tuning, like open D, you retune most of the strings, and that means that most of the notes on the fretboard will be in a different place than if you're in standard tuning. So that's an advantage. You have all the notes where they usually are. And another advantage is you can easily play in different keys. In open G, it's easy to play in G. You can play in C and related keys, but E flat, for example, wouldn't be very easy in open G. But in standard tuning, you can do it. And if you want to sound a bit more like you're in an open tuning, use open strings. Play in E or A, and you can make it sound like an open tuning. Thing number 2, it is possible to play chords in standard tuning with a slide. In an open tuning, it's very easy to play the basic blues chords. You just put the slide over all of the strings on the same fret, and you will get your 1 chord, your 4, and your 5. In standard tuning, it's a little bit trickier, but it can be done. And I'm going to show you some of my favorite ways to play chords with this tuning and a slide. My number 1 favorite is the old A cowboy chord shape, because it has 3 notes on the same fret. So you can put your slide over strings 2, 3, and 4 in any place and get a major chord. Another way to do it is to use the D shape. It has 2 of the notes, the 5th and the 3rd, on the same fret. So you can take string 1 and 3, an A or G, or whatever you like. For major and minor chords, you can use the two first strings. It's just the 5th and the root, so it fits minor or major chords. And the same goes for string 4 and 5. You get the power chord sound. And that works for both minor and major chords. For minor chords, the best and easiest way is to play the first 3 strings on the same fret. The third thing on this list is muting. And muting may just be the hardest part of playing slide. At least it's up there with intonation. But intonation is the same in standard tuning as in any tuning, I would say. But muting is even more important in standard tuning, because when you're in like open G and you hit a string that's not supposed to be in there, it will most likely be another chord tone, so it's not the end of the world. In open tuning, it could be any tone really, any note. So for the left hand, I use the standard slide muting, I would say. I put my three free fingers on the strings behind the fret to silence that part of the string. With the right hand, I aim to mute all the strings that are not supposed to make a sound at any given moment. So I'm going to show you a little thing from the upcoming tune. It sounds like this. So for the 3 bass strings, I use the side of my palm, and that also gives a nice muted bass sound. For the first 3 strings, I use these 3. They have their own string to mute. So in this little melody, the first note is on string 1. So I only lift my ring finger to play the C sharp. These stay on their strings. And when that note is over, I put the finger back and lift my index finger. And after that, I put that finger back, and this finger will have to play the last note. Thing number 4 is, where should you put the slide? Hopefully you put it on a finger, and I would recommend the pinky, because that makes me able to use fingers 1, 2, and 3 for playing chords and fretted notes in general. If I had the slide on finger number 3, which is not uncommon, it would be hard to play something like this. I have to have 3 fingers to play chords and turnarounds like that. So my recommendation is the pinky. The final item on my little list, thing number 5, is when you put the slide on your finger, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to play all the notes in the solo or the melody with the slide. You can use fretted notes in there, mix them up. If you use just a slide, sometimes there will be a lot of movement up and down the neck to reach all the notes. But if you mix in fretted notes, it will be easier in some ways, and it will also sound a bit different. I will talk more about fretting behind the slide in a different video. right, thanks for listening and watching. If you'd like to improve your standard tuning slide playing, get the tabs for the little blues piece and practice. I'll be back soon with another video.